Oh, hello, my friend. Welcome to live chat. I am so interested in this topic, so I'm hoping you're just as interested because I want to hear what you have to say about this. So we all know, we're hopefully coming out of this global pandemic, and makeup sales have been really odd over the past year. Of course, with everyone wearing masks, lip sales went way down, except for like balms and things like that. Skincare sales went up in lots of places, especially in anywhere that helped with like maskne or irritation under the mask. And especially with cosmetics, I feel like a lot of us are realizing with color cosmetics, I feel like a lot of us are realizing how many color cosmetics, at least us, that watch, do a lot of social media or on YouTube a lot, that we have a lot of stuff. And I've heard that in my comment section from a lot of people. So, but then, when we talk about in What's Up in Makeup, different product releases, we see that there are releases that do really well. There's launches that people are actually excited about. So what I wanted to talk about today is what would make you buy makeup at this point? Like, what are the triggers? What are the things that make you go, yes, that is something I need? And then look at this thing and be like, no, like that is not something I need. I want to go into that because I think that the makeup market, the color cosmetics market is so different than it was even 2 years ago. And the only people that really know what people are going to buy are the consumers. So I wanted to talk about that because I find it really interesting. And I know that my perspective as someone who does beauty YouTube videos is very different from the general consumers. That's why I wanted to talk to you all about that. But before we do, let us say hello very quickly to the people that are here live in the collective brain of makeup awesomeness, also known as the people that are here in live chat. I believe you are seeing them here. If you are watching this on the replay, then you're participating in the collective brain by commenting down below so we can all learn from you. So good morning to Paul. Good morning to Lisa from Sincerely LGS. Go check out her YouTube channel. Allison Green Official is here. This is her first time that she's ever been at the beginning of a live chat. She's so stoked. Thank you for being here, Allison, and spending your morning with me, or whatever time it is, wherever you are. Good morning to Christine and the busy honeybee. Good morning. And good morning to Ms. Matt and Sorojan. Good morning to you, Kimberly and Christy. Lisa's reminding people to hit the like button. It really does help me out a lot. It tells YouTube to share it with other people. Sherry, good morning to you. Darky Doom, so good to see you. Jen Unbox, good morning, Collective Brains. I've got my traditional Sunday morning chai latte and toasted bagel delivery ordered, and I'm ready for chatter time. So happy to have you here. Caroline, good morning to you. And talking about my shirt, Jen says, and I might need to watch Dirty Dancing later after seeing Jen's shirt. If you've seen Dirty Dancing, then you know, and I thought it was kind of appropriate for today because the scene where a baby she's very flustered because somebody hands her this watermelon to carry into this party, and Patrick Swayze walks over and she finds him so handsome that she can't speak and she doesn't know what to do, so she just says, "I carried a watermelon." And I feel like that's kind of the way that the cosmetic industry is kind of right now, is that they're kind of flustered, not really knowing what to do, and sometimes saying dumb things. And doing dumb things. That happens too. So let's talk about it. And if I didn't say good morning to you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much to Cassie for joining the Collective Brain Elite. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. I really want to do more live chats and videos over there. I haven't done a whole lot over there, so I need to do more. It's $1.99. It's really just kind of like a way to support the channel. So, okay, so let's talk about makeup releases. So I took a couple of little notes about things that I think kind of make me want to buy things. And really the biggest thing I feel like a lot of brands are playing off right now is nostalgia and kind of our emotions to get us to buy things, really pretty packaging, nostalgia, scent, different things that trigger other emotions that are not makeup related. It's not just about the quality of the product anymore. It's about what else will make me happy about this. Because really, how many eyeshadows do we need? How many highlighters do we need? How many makeup mirrors do we need? I know a lot of people collect makeup, the little stand makeup mirrors, the little handheld ones, lip glosses and lipsticks. It's like, we already have all this stuff. So what's going to make us go beyond that? And I feel like, ColourPop is really leaning into the nostalgia and, of course, Makeup Revolution, the Disney collections and, whoever they can collab with. I mean, Hip Dot with the My Chemical Romance stuff. I think people look at something that resonates with them in a different way, and they know that that thing brings them joy. Therefore, this makeup is going to bring them joy. It gives them another piece of this thing that they love. The Powerpuff Girls, I know, were very special to a lot of people. I do not resonate with the Powerpuff Girls, but I know a lot of people do. And when you see makeup that is connected with something that you loved in your childhood, it's like, yes, like I need that in my life. But do you really? And I think that's a big selling point right now for companies, is when they build off of things, because, doing makeup has a lot of purposes for a lot of people. It used to be thought that the reason why people did makeup, specifically women did makeup, because, when I'm talking about, it was traditionally something that women did, was to impress men. That was the general public consensus, was the reason why women wore makeup was because they wanted to impress men. We've evolved past that. I believe in my heart and my soul, and the majority of, with the places that I look at, we've evolved way past that, thankfully. And I think that a lot of us do makeup. At least the reason why I do makeup is because it brings me joy. It brings me happiness. When I, can play with color, it's fun for me. It's just fun. So I feel like the nostalgia and all of that, but then also when you have a formula or something that you can play with in a new way. And I think that's the most challenging thing for companies to do, is come up with a new way for us to use makeup that is fun. Let me go ahead and see what you all are saying. Yeah, boy, times have changed. Oh, I know, right? I know, right? Yeah. Sandy says, if they came out with a Buffy or Supernatural collection, I'd be doomed. I know. And I'm the same way. I know that, what was it? I can't remember if it was Sola Look or Storybook Cosmetics. I haven't heard of Storybook Cosmetics in a while. They were talking about doing Buffy brushes. I think it was Sola Look, doing Buffy the Vampire Slayer brushes with like stakes and stuff on the ends. I thought that was kind of a neat idea. And then with Supernatural, you all know how much of a Supernatural fan I am. I got the big, huge Hot Topic palettes that were like $18. They're awful quality, but to have a shade named, if you have kids around, I'm going to say a bad word, a shade named Ass Bud. I mean, I need that in my life. And I seriously, I've used those palettes maybe once, maybe less than once. I just got them because of the nostalgia, of not even nostalgia because it was on at the time, but yeah, I mean, that's how they got my money. Yeah, this is another point, Christina. Nostalgia products are hard to pass up, especially if they're a limited time only. I still pass them up though. I do too. I have to sometimes I'm stronger than other times. Yeah, great point. I'm going to call you Joe. Joe says, honestly, for me, after the pandemic and unemployment, price makes a huge difference, but affordable and still good quality. I'm excited to buy the Shadow Kiss by Alter Ego. I do believe they're sending me that in PR, so I will be able to give you more information on that. Hopefully they will send it soon so I can give you some information. But yeah, I mean, I think definitely with financial situations have changed dramatically. I know John and I were in a spot for a while because he had to close his studio down for, how long did you close it down for? He's got his headphones on, so he's on a 30-second delay. I think it was like 6 months, 8 months, 9 months. I can't remember. But he had to shut his studio down, and that is the major source of income for our household. And we had just moved. We moved in November of 2019. Yeah. I know you can't hear me.
No, I'm like reading comments. We were closed for about 3 months.
3 months. Okay. I don't know why I thought it was longer than that, but then it seemed a lot longer. And also because the clientele wasn't coming in. People didn't have money for tattoos the way that they used to. So it was the worst year we've ever had. Let's just put it that way. It was the worst year we ever had. And we just moved, from, half the size house we had now to twice the size house. And it was like, oh my gosh, how are we going to afford this? So we were at a point where we're like, oh my gosh, what did we do? Because we didn't realize what was happening in November of 2019. So I was definitely not buying any makeup. I'll tell you that. I was not buying any makeup. But yeah, I know people are in a totally different, even worse situation than I was. I'm not trying to say I was in a that bad of a place compared to a lot of people, but yeah, it's definitely price has been a huge factor for a lot of people. Yes, Baphomet Biche. But can't say it. I can't. Lunatic Cosmetics is a supernatural palette. Their quality is chef's kiss. What?
It's Baphomet.
Baphomet?
Baphomet,
Baphomet, salutely. Okay. You said you know that person?
Baphomet. It's like a satanic thing.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't know Satan. I don't know him personally. They do have a supernatural palette. I'm not sure if it's meant for like Supernatural the show, but yeah, they do have that, and they do have good quality. Absolutely. Absolutely. Tammy says, I really don't shop mainstream brands anymore. And I think a lot of people are wanting to shop more indie brands. Absolutely. Because I feel like a lot of people have lost their love for mainstream brands. They've lost their trust. They want to support small businesses. And there's a lot of factors there as well. Yeah, Betty, great point. Betty says, what is everyone's trying to be ColourPop. What happened to 2 or 3 releases a year? Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, I think they realized that there was money to be made in more releases, smaller runs, more releases. That's a lot of people are making money off of it. But I do think that has slowed, at least it seems from the outside that has slowed down significantly. Angela says, I feel you, Jen. If a brand comes out with the Game of Thrones anything, I'm mortgaging my home. Do you remember the Urban Decay Game of Thrones stuff? That I have to tell you that the reason why I watched Game of Thrones was because of Urban Decay, because I knew I wanted to buy that palette for review. So as soon as I heard that was coming out, during the last season, I started binge watching it, and I watched the entire series over, I think I was up through like maybe, I don't know, about halfway through, maybe a little more than halfway through when I reviewed the Game of Thrones palette. And then I just kept watching. And I really enjoyed it. I think that as far as like endings, I know people complain about that at Game of Thrones ending. And I think that if you've been following it for years, you probably were madder than I was. It just binge watched it in a few months. I didn't hate it that much. I didn't hate the Supernatural ending that much either. I don't know. I'm weird. It takes a lot for me to hate something. I'm pretty, I kind of go with the flow. Hi, Betty. How are you, Betty? I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're doing well. Betty is a scientist. She was very involved in the Jaclyn Hill lipstick issues and helping people to understand what was happening with those. So great to see you, Betty. Thanks for being here. Yeah, great point, Diamond Doll. More brands have jumped on the Afterpay bandwagon, and that has changed the way people think about prices and affordability of makeup. Oh, totally. When people can spread their payments out. And I know some people are very poo-poo about Afterpay. Like if you need to do Afterpay, then maybe you shouldn't be buying the makeup. But I feel like that's very short-sighted. I think that people need to do what they feel like they have to do. in order to bring their lives joy. And sometimes that means paying, $6 a month for a while for, for something they wanted, or $10 a month or $15 a month. We have to find joy where we can. And sometimes that means putting it on a credit card or doing Afterpay. Of course, we need to, figure out a way to do that where it doesn't put us in a bad position. But at the same time, I feel like, giving that option is not necessarily a bad thing, especially for people that are living paycheck to paycheck, maybe have a lot of struggles in their life, or really trying so hard just to make it through the day. And something like an eyeshadow palette that they've really wanted may help bring that joy so that they can get through their days a little bit easier. And I think some people don't necessarily understand that. If you haven't lived that life, it's hard to understand why you might put an eyeshadow palette on Afterpay. But some people may have had that experience and decided it wasn't for them. But I think you need to do what's best for you and your happiness and your joy. And as long as you can keep paying it off and you can manage it, absolutely. Hi, Audra. Go check out Audra's YouTube channel. She had a fabulous live stream last night. I was laughing, crying, especially toward the end. It was fabulous. Mainstream brands don't have the range, period. I think so too. Absolutely, Audra. And I think that they're behind the times. And I'm not sure which range you're talking about, but I would imagine it's multiple definitions of the word range. I think it's range as far as creativity. I think it's shade range as far as being open to many different types of people with different skin tones. I think some people just shoot for the middle. Some brands just shoot for the middle, which, yeah, they're going to get sales from there, but then they end up turning off those other ends, especially the deeper end of the spectrum. Because it's like, if you don't care about my money, then I don't care about giving you my money. So yeah. And a lot of the indie brands are giving the range. Yes, absolutely. Denise says, I like Afterpay because I don't want to pay all at once. It's better to me because you're not paying a chunk of your money. Yeah. And if you can spare $10 a month out of what you're making, but you can't spare $50 all at once. Yeah, Leah says, we've had Afterpay here for ages. Really useful for bigger purchases. Where do you live, Leah? I'm curious to know, not specifically, but like country-wise or statewide or wherever you live. Yeah, Margaret says, I agree with sales. I think it's a good time to try out a product you've been eyeing without paying full price. Yeah, totally. But I think that some people sometimes will buy things that they don't necessarily need during a sale just because it's on sale, which I think can sometimes have the opposite effect. But I think sales will definitely drive consumerism 100%. And I think that's something that brands can do. But I think how frequently sales are happening within brands, I don't know. I feel like sometimes it doesn't really help them to have such frequent sales. So.
Leah says Argentina.
Argentina, cool. I would love to go to Argentina one day. It seems like such a beautiful country. Yeah, totally. Happy G says, I've been homeless. Makeup became an affordable form of self-care. Yes. When you have nothing, a lipstick can change lives. It gave me something to hold on to in a dark place. All incomes are valid, in my opinion. Amen. I love that. Love that. Yeah, Pretty Accountant says, I think financing makeup is a horrible option and provides a path into further poor financial decision making. Also, the real problem is the cost of makeup, that it needs to be financed. I think there's a lot we're digging into here that I think is interesting. I don't think it's a horrible option. I think it can be, depending on the person and their ability to manage their finances. I think that it can be an option if someone is someone that doesn't manage money well. It can make them go further into debt, and it can be a bad thing. But I wouldn't say, for me, I don't think it's a horrible option for a lot of people. The cost of makeup, the real problem is the cost of makeup, that it needs to be financed. And I think that all industries have a huge markup. I think, food has a huge markup. Makeup has a huge markup. Pretty much anything has a huge markup at this point, because the company is trying to grow. They're trying to pay their employees. They're trying to make lots of money. They're trying to make their investors happy. There's all these things, and it makes prices for the average consumer go up. I don't think at any point there's anything that is sold at a, fair price considering the cost, looking at huge markups on everything. But I mean, people see makeup as a luxury, as a something you don't really need. But at the same time, I do feel like some people really want makeup for mental health reasons, for self-confidence reasons, for a way to get through their day, a way to help them to feel good about themselves. So, and there are a lot of makeup products that are at a less expensive price point. I mean, for ColourPop, for all of their faults of overproduction for the environment and all of that, they do make high quality makeup at a less expensive price. And I will give them that. I will absolutely give them that. A lot of people talking about the Hourglass eyeshadows that we talked about last week, where one shadow was what, $39, and the 5-pan palette was $161. It's like, I mean, I am a firm believer that people need to spend their money however they choose to. I just hope that they have the information behind it in order to make educated purchasing decisions. And if people still want it, I mean, if it brings them joy, who am I to say that they shouldn't buy it? So as far as skincare goes, I wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit with this topic is, with skincare purchases, I feel like the way for people to want to buy skincare is really and truly when the marketing, I think a lot of it is within the marketing of it. I feel like a lot of people are turned on by scents. A lot of people are turned off by scents. So they have to make that decision of what market they're going to go for. You're going to go for the people that have that sensory memory, where you have a brand like Rihanna's Fenty Skin. Everything has a very specific scent. So when you have a good experience with a product, when it has that scent, you feel like, oh, I'm home. Oh, I have this wonderful product that's always worked for me. And they're using that scent to their advantage. And I know that a lot of skincare brands have used that in the past, but then now there's this movement against fragrance. And of course, there's people that are allergic to fragrance, all of that. So I think brands need to decide which route they're going to go. And I think there's consumers on both ends that will purchase specifically because it doesn't have fragrance, or specifically because it does have fragrance and because they enjoy the scent. I think that's one thing. I think packaging is a big deal when it comes to skincare. Some people are really looking for eco-friendly packaging, which we've talked about isn't necessarily as eco-friendly as brands make it out to be. And then some people go for something that's going to look beautiful on their vanity. And I think with skincare, really and truly, it is about which consumer are you going after, finding your avatar as a brand of who you want to market to. Because I do feel like skincare is something that is so varied as far as what people are looking for. You have people, skincare marketed specifically to people looking for anti-aging concerns, people that are, like Morphe 2, who, is marketing toward Gen Zers. Finding that avatar and then just sticking with it until it's an established line, and then maybe branching out a little bit into different people. But I think that would be my advice to skincare brands, is stick with one type of consumer for a little while and then branching out slowly. Let's see what you all are saying. Interesting. Talia says, brands need to give out samples a whole lot more. They'd probably be surprised how many items I'd buy if I got to try something and fall in love off a sample instead of that fear. That is a really good point. I'm curious about that. If people agree with you. I do agree with you. I think that sampling a product can really make a big difference. And I feel like there was a lot more sampling than it seems to be now, that you got a lot more samples, with purchases at Ulta and Sephora. I feel like they don't really do that anymore. Also, we used to have the subscription boxes, like the smaller subscription boxes, like Birchbox and Sample Society and things like that, where that was the whole point of the subscription box was sampling. There was that one called So Schwa that shut down, where they would buy the full size product, let's say a La Mer foundation or a Chanel blush, and they would chop it up or squirt it and repackage it small and then give people a chance to try it. And then they sold the full sizes on the website where you could purchase the full size product. And your money that you paid toward the box would go toward your purchase of the full size, which I thought was a pretty cool concept. Unfortunately, it did not do well and they did go out of business. But I do think there is something there with samples. It's just what's the best way to get those samples out to the right consumers so that they're not wasting their money on these samples. And also making sure to know, what size samples to give out, because if you just give a foil pack, is that going to be enough for someone to get the full experience, or do they need to put it in a small plastic bottle? Now we're talking about environmental impact. We're talking about, all kinds of things add into that shipping cost, the cost of that small bottle. Is it worth it to the brand? I mean, there's so many things. Hi, nice GGG says, as long as you don't get into credit card debt as far as the Afterpay and everything. Yes, because being in debt adds a whole nother level of stress, which may counteract the joy that the makeup gave you in the first place. And people are impulsive. Well, some people are impulsive. Yeah, this is interesting. Josephine says, I like having mini sizes in makeup too, especially if it's something I'm not sure of. I don't know if when you were a kid, if you liked mini sizes of things. That was something I absolutely loved. I don't know. Nobody that I know remembers this. But when I was a kid, there were these plastic chains that you could buy. You could buy bracelets, you could buy necklaces. They were little plastic chains, and then you could buy little charms that they had these little, little like question mark shape hooks. And then you could buy these little charms to go on them and we would collect them. And it was all these mini things, it was like little mini French fries, and they had a little mini lipstick and a little mini this and a little mini that. And I flippin' loved these things. And like nobody I know remembers them. And I'm wondering if it was real because, because I remember them. But I always loved mini things. I don't know if you love mini things, but I feel like with little mini makeup, when you get a little mini lipstick or a little mini whatever, it's cute. And it's fun. Like, would you buy something if it was just like little minis and they were just cute, like specifically on purpose? It was like a little mini, like I'm going to talk about this today, this little mini Flower Beauty Gel Crush, and it was like this big. I don't know. Would it be worth it? I don't know. Yeah. Amelia says Afterpay has allowed me to experience things that I never thought I'd be able to experience. Totally. Totally. Yeah. And Joe says that Afterpay can charge huge late fees. Yeah, you definitely don't want to get into that. Okay. Kimberly remembers the charms. They're real. Okay. All right. Because I don't think I've ever met anybody that remembers them. Okay, Rebel Junkie remembers it too. Okay, all right, and Peggy remembers it. Okay, so I'm not going crazy. Okay, Angie Angie remembers it too. Okay, I'm not like losing it. Okay, we're good. Yes, JK says, when I was a kid, my stepmom was an Avon lady and she had this little mini lipstick. She would let us have some of those. Oh my goodness. My mother had those. My mom sold Avon. And I know people hate MLMs, but I will tell you, and I've said this before, Avon was a huge part of my childhood, in that Avon, my mom did really well with Avon. She's a really nice lady. And because she's such a nice lady, people bought stuff from her. But I remember my brother and I, we would she would drive around the neighborhoods, and she had these Avon catalogs in these little plastic bags, and we would jump out of the car and we would put them on the mailboxes, hang them on, the little thing underneath the mailbox or whatever, or lean them up against, or put them in the mailboxes for people when I was a kid. But Avon was how we got our first microwave. I'm pretty sure we got a TV from Avon. I remember a big, huge bear that my mom got for me from Avon. And the little mini lipsticks were like a huge influence in my childhood. She had these little it was like a little tray thing and you flipped it up or whatever, and then the little mini lipsticks inside. I remember there was a bright pink one that I absolutely loved. I thought I was hot stuff with my little mini pink lipstick. That one was my favorite. I don't know what happened to it. Hopefully it's all thrown away at this point. But I remember she had this drawer with all of her Avon stuff in it, and it had this smell. And now I recognize that smell as old makeup because it sat there for a long, long time. She didn't want to throw it away. Nobody was using it. It was just sitting in this drawer, and it had this smell, like just this one drawer. And you only smelled it when you opened the drawer, and it was like whoosh of this like old makeup smell. Because she kept this stuff for a long time after she stopped selling Avon. I don't know why. Nice. Chris says, as a young male child, I was often made fun of for my passion for makeup, and now I own my own business. Neener, neener, neener. Good for you, Chris. I'm sorry you went through that, though. I'm really sorry you went through that. I'm very thankful that that now young boys who wear makeup, depending on the area, may have a completely different experience than what you dealt with when you were a child. I'm so sorry you had to deal with that. Yeah, a lot of people reminiscing about Avon. Tracy says, Avon was huge for my childhood too. The Avon lady would come every Saturday, and she ended up being a close friend of my mom. That's so awesome. I think it was a different world back then, I think, when it came to MLMs. Yeah. Yeah, Mrs. H says Avon was one of the few that you could actually make money from. The startup cost wasn't like the ones today. Yeah, it's a totally different thing. All right, oh, it's 31 minutes in. It is time to take a little bit of a break. Let's talk about what's on my face today. So I had a lot of fun with my eye look today. I was going for a watermelon look. How did I do? I actually really like this look. I used the Kaleidos Flower Punk palette for this, this was sent in PR. And this is just a really fun palette. It kind of reminds me of the way that Melt Cosmetics does their palettes. But I really like this palette. It's really fun. One thing I want to note is that these shimmery guys really are kind of like toppers. You can see it in my inner corner. I also tapped the green one just like right there. But they're not, they don't have a very pigmented base to them. But they're still fun. Nonetheless, they're very fun to play with. But just know that they're not like a really pigmented formula as far as like standing on their own. They're just like a sheer wash. But yeah, these are really fun. Let me swatch some of the other ones. So I used Nouveau and Peach Soju on my lid today. And just effortless, absolutely effortless. One thing, we haven't talked about this in a long time, but I used to talk about this a lot on my channel, is like how to read a swatch of how it's going to perform. So do you see here how it's like one solid color all the way across? Sometimes when you swatch something, it'll be real deep in the pigmentation where you put your finger down, but then as you slide your finger, it doesn't slide evenly. So that's a sign that it may be difficult to blend, that there's a lot of pigment in it, and it may be difficult to blend if you get like a, it almost looks like a sperm. I hate to say it, but it does. Or like a tadpole or something. It's got like this big, like blob here, and then it gets this like real sheer tail. So do you see how these are like, they're just one color all the way across, and it's very opaque. There's no skipping. There's no like, so that's a sign that these are going to be really easy to work with, and they are. They absolutely are. These are fun too. These muddy guys, like swampy looking colors. These are really fun. And you see how they're just perfect. They're perfect swatches. I mean, it's not a foolproof thing, but it definitely, can help in a store when we're able to swatch things again to kind of decide how an eyeshadow is going to perform. Maybe I should do a video about that and like how to swatch something and know what it's going to do from the swatch. Would you be interested in that? I don't know if that's a good video idea, but All right, on my cheeks today, I have the Gerard Cosmetics Starlit Palette. I use this shade over here, which I believe is the shade Lucy. Sometimes on the back, I don't know, like, sometimes they label them like one way or the other way, but it's this shade right here is on my cheeks today. I also used it on my lower lash line, just right here, just to set off that inner corner. And then blush today is, like I was saying before, the Gel Crush Lip and Cheek by Flower Beauty. This is all PR so far. This is Strawberry Crush. And I've really been digging on doing like the sunburn thing where I put a little bit of blush on my nose and like down here. I don't know, I'm really loving that. And then I found this in my drawer. This is probably too old to use, but it doesn't smell bad, so I'm using it anyway. This is from Lorac, which is a brand I haven't seen in a very long time. This is the shade Mama Bear. I love these lipsticks. If you see these at Kohl's, these are really nice, creamy lipsticks, and they have a really nice vanilla creamy scent. They're just great lipsticks. I don't know. Lorac needs to come back. I miss them. They have such good quality stuff, and they need to come back to the mainstream. I miss them dearly. And then I mixed it with the Jouer liquid lipstick in Noisette. This is a really fun pairing because this was just a little too pink. I wanted to just bring it down just a little bit more, give it a little more. It was just a little too Barbie. I needed to bring it a little down a little bit. But yeah, this was PR, this was purchased, I believe. Yes, this was purchased. So this is the only thing purchased that I talked about. All right. So we can keep talking about this topic. We can talk about other topics. Totally up to you. Oh, thank you so much, Jen Gerard, who created this palette. The light one is Grace. Okay. Yes, because I wasn't sure, because sometimes people label it this way. Sometimes they label it this way. So okay, so it's based on when you flip it over. So it's like right on the back of that one. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Jen. I appreciate you. What would I do if the creator of the product wasn't here? Oh, Elizabeth is like, Jen's here. She can tell you what it is. Yes. Katie says, I can't wait to be able to swatch things again. Also, the Flower Puck palette is worth the money. It's amazing. Yes, totally. And I think that maybe I'll save that video for when, maybe a year from now when we are all able to swatch things in stores again. Maybe that'd be better. Yeah. Roya says, have y'all seen the way some YouTubers do finger swatches? They go back and forth and make it look really pigmented. Yeah. And that's something definitely that needs to be noted. Hopefully they pause after the first swipe so you can kind of see. But yeah, going back and forth, that's just kind of showing you how it's going to blend. So, I mean, I feel like it's still valid. As long as they are not dipping in the pan multiple times and not letting you see that. I don't mind it so much when they go back and forth. You just have to kind of make note of that's the way the pigment's going to move. If you use your finger and you tap it on your eye, that's the way the pigment's going to move. But yeah, it's more, I think that's more valid for if you're just trying to see the way that the shadow looks on a specific skin tone. But as far as like application, it makes it kind of hard to tell. That's why I really like the way that I do whenever I'm on Instagram, which isn't very often. I only do one swipe of each one. Sometimes I'll bring it down a couple of times, but I don't dip into the pan more than once. So you can see what it looks like from that one swipe. Yeah. Lisa says, love my makeup, but now I find I get more excited if I get something new for the kitchen. Got a large cast iron frying pan, and I treat that baby with so much love. I got a cast iron frying pan once and I used it like twice, and then I got tired of having to clean it special and I stopped using it. I was like, I wanted it and then I didn't want it. But hopefully you have more patience than I do. But yeah, I think that sometimes people are going to, Where was I going with it? I read the next comment and I lost it. Oh, sometimes our interests change over time. And I think some of us, after buying makeup for however many years, we're just like kind of over it. We like the things that we have and we have enough makeup, that isn't going to go bad for the next year or two. So it's like, why am I buying something new? And I think that that's what brands need to capture, I think, is why is somebody going to buy this? Why is somebody going to spend their money on this versus something else? Where I think capturing something unique, emotional to that customer, I think is going to be critical. Because especially if you're trying to go after someone that has a lot of product already. If you're trying to go after somebody that doesn't have a lot of product already, then it really, I feel like, needs to be in drugstores or in department stores, where people can easily access it without going online. So yeah, I mean, it's a tricky market right now. It's a very tricky market. Apparently John said something that people were, okay.
We're still talking about credit cards.
Oh, still talking about credit card stuff? Okay. That's cool. Well, you know a lot about that stuff, so that's good.
We'll get back to PD.
Oh, no, that's okay. All right, sorry, I'm trying to find something that... Yeah, John just giving credit card advice. We use our credit card for all of our purchases and pay it in full every month. It has been great for our credit. If you have credit, pull when your balance is higher. It'll lower your score for that moment. There you go. There's your financial advice for the day.
And then we get cash back.
Yeah, because we get cash back from our credit card. Yeah. So that's always good. Yeah. Fly Science, correct. I pay my off in full every month. I've never not paid it off. I mean, we definitely had times where we had credit card debt, because we just financially weren't in a good place and we had to buy things. We had to buy food and we had to pay our rent and we had to pay our electricity bill and all of that. When John and I first got married, I was in my first year of teaching. Actually, our 16-year wedding anniversary was yesterday. Yay! But when we first got married, we were living in an apartment, and I was on a first-year teacher salary, and he was delivering pizza. And he was working on opening his tattoo studio. So he opened the tattoo studio the fall after we got married. But we were living off ramen noodles and love for a while, for a year or two, as a couple. Before that, I was living off just ramen noodles and independence. But being a full-time college student and waiting tables. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely a time, and it's, racking up. Sometimes you have to charge it if you want to survive, but I think that as little as you can and paying off things is good. Absolutely. This is an interesting point. I keep seeing Diamond Doll's comments. I think the shift from brick and mortar to online has hurt makeup purchases to an extent. We used to spend a lot on brands because a salesperson in the store made up look fab. Well, we don't do that anymore. And I think that's an excellent point as far as like Sephora and Ulta, especially at Sephora. I feel like they were really good at coming up and saying, you go up and you ask for a foundation recommendation or a, blush recommendation, that they could kind of lead you to where you wanted to go. And then, you swatch things and figure it out. And it's like, now we just really don't have that. And I don't know about you, but like my Sephora employees that, used to work there don't work there anymore. And the ones that have been there recently when I've gone in just haven't been as engaged in talking with the consumer. And maybe that's because they can't really swatch. They have to go in the back and they have to, do different things in order to swatch stuff. It's a lot more complicated than it used to be. So maybe that's part of it. But yeah, I think trying things in store and not being able to do that has really impacted things. That's an excellent point. Yeah, Fly Science says, I don't know about y'all, but I think I'm going through buying fatigue. LOL. New products are being released and I don't even get excited anymore. Yeah, and I think you're not alone. I think that that's the way a lot of people are feeling right now. Is it's just like it's so much stuff. And it's like, do I really need it? Or am I like Lisa and I want to buy a frying pan instead? Whatever else you're into. Yeah, Chelsea says, I think companies count on FOMO and people have a lot of FOMO. And I think also, especially people that are tuned into the YouTube beauty space, I think a lot of us have identified these marketing tricks and things and have been able to figure out a way to not get FOMO as much because we realize now all the marketing tricks that brands were using to get us to buy things that, and now we're like, limited edition, buy it at this particular time just doesn't work as well as it used to because we realize it's just marketing. And they're counting on that FOMO. They are. Fear of missing out, if you're not sure what FOMO stands for. Yeah, Soroshin says, I just bought a nice car after having a terrible one for a while. My financial priorities instantly changed. I refuse to mess this up. Yeah, I mean, and especially when we're going through a pandemic, you have different priorities, and getting a new car is probably a bigger priority than getting, a $161 eyeshadow palette. Oh, Carlos says, I wonder if consumers will stop complaining about every single thing. I don't think so. No, I mean, and the thing is the way that people are, and I think the internet has really brought a lot of realization to this because we are all, exposed to people that we may not be exposed to otherwise. Is that, brands really can't win a lot of times because if you try to please this group, you're going to let this group down. But then if you try to please this group, you're going to let this group down. So there's always going to be somebody complaining, no matter what. And I think it's always been there, through customer service and things. But I think we're seeing it more. People that aren't involved in the back end of brands seeing more of that because it's just, it's on Twitter. It's in YouTube videos. It's everywhere. You're never going to make everybody happy. It's that whole juiciest peach thing. Some people are just never going to like peaches. It's that whole thing. Yeah, exactly, Angela. Carl, I bought some new gadgets to help with cleaning the home, and a husband brought a new vacuum too 2 weeks ago, and I am ecstatic. It's whatever brings you joy, And so for some of us, makeup just isn't new makeup, not makeup in general, but new makeup and buying new makeup just isn't bringing us the same joy. And I think a lot of people don't have the collector mentality that we used to. I remember when ColourPop first came out, there were people that were collecting ColourPop. That every ColourPop release they were collecting. I used to collect the ABH palettes, the traditional size square ones with the square pans. I used to collect those, but then they started coming out with too many right after the Jackie Aina palette. I gave up. I was like, there's just too many palettes coming out. Like I can't buy all of these. This is just out of control. And I think that collector mentality was really important to those high sales. But because they started producing too much, people were like, I can't collect this anymore. Like it's not even, I'll get what I can, but it's like it wasn't as fun anymore. It wasn't about the collecting. It was about, oh my gosh, look at all this crap I have. Like how people I collect my little pops, the Funko Pops. There's so many of them out there. I just get the ones that I personally really like. But collector mentality is real. And sometimes it's really fun to just get something just to collect it. But then you realize that it's like, maybe I don't want to collect this anymore. It's too much. Janice says the same thing. Yes, I was going to say the same thing. I ended up using my monthly budget for makeup on kitchen items. I too got a large cast iron pan last year, and I just got an enamel Dutch oven. So excited. Nice. Yeah, I've been buying some kitchen stuff as well. Yeah, I really like that stuff. It's fun. Kitchen stuff is fun. Playing with things is fun. Playing with food is fun. making I don't know, not everybody likes cooking, but I feel a joy in making a meal, having all these ingredients, putting them all together to make something and then feeding it to people that will enjoy it. And it's like, I did that. I made that. And now people are enjoying it and it brings me joy. And I'm enjoying it. And I get to eat it too. Thank you for all the happy anniversary wishes. I appreciate it. Did I get the Teresa's Dead palette? I did, but mine will not be here till October. I pretty much know that I can't review it because I'm not getting it till October. It might end up in a favorites and fails, but I mostly got it to support Teresa because I love Teresa. I wanted to have it because she made it. That is legit the only reason why I bought it. It's because I wanted something that Teresa created. And she's going to go, I have boxes of things that my friends have created over here. I have like a little thing where I have, my Dramatique Boutique box. I have Angie's Kaleidos collab, Samantha March's stuff. I have some Laura Lee's stuff over here, Bailey Sarian, Raw Beauty Christie. I have like their boxes from the products that they've created that I've gotten either in PR or purchased. And I'm excited to add my Teresa's Dead stuff over there. So, yeah. I personally, especially when I know somebody personally, I like to buy whatever it is they made. And that's a marketing thing. That's a way for brands. If you want me to buy something, collab with one of my friends. I will buy it. Oh, it will be mine. Even if I have to wait till October to get it. Yeah, I keep finding Joe's comments too. I don't know whether it's because there's like a 60-second delay and maybe I'm just hitting on the same people in those 60 seconds. But Joe says using makeup has been something positive for my teen daughter's mental health. It's weird. People get shamed for using makeup as if we use makeup because we don't like how we look without it. Yeah, and I think some people do use makeup because they don't like the way they look without it. But I think a lot of people use it because it's just fun. And it's a time for me. It's always been a time for me. It's a time of joy and relaxation and just doing something for me, having some playtime. I think as adults, we don't have enough playtime. I think we need playtime just as much as kids, well, maybe not just as much as kids need playtime, but a lot. And taking time for yourself to just play with whatever you like to play with, whether, playing a video game or playing an app on your phone or playing with makeup or, going and playing mini golf with your family or, whatever, or by yourself, whatever. I think that's really important to have that playtime. And makeup for me is playtime. It's fun. Yeah, Siri says, to me, feeding my kids well is my job as a parent. So I feel I should have good tools to do my job well. So I'd rather spend my money for that than other things that don't last. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and I think some people to go off on the cooking tangent, I think that people sometimes are intimidated by cooking. At one point, I thought about doing a cooking channel and just showing very basic things that people can cook, things that are just genuinely very easy. Just how to cook chicken breasts so that they're delicious every single time. Salt and pepper, throw it in your frying pan, 3 minutes each side, put it in the oven, 400 degrees, stick your thermometer in it. When it gets to 165, I usually let mine get to 170 just to make sure that it's cooked all the way through. Done. Perfect every single time. Little things like that are they're much easier than people think they are. And I think I feel like there are already resources out there to help people to learn that cooking doesn't have to be a chore. Going to the grocery store doesn't have to be a chore. So yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I love cooking so much. It's really fun. Jake's has good advice. Don't buy a cheap Dutch oven. It's not worth it. You'll spend more because you have to buy another one pretty quickly. Great to know. Thank you for that. I almost said something I'm not allowed to say yet. Almost snuck out. We'll get there. Yes, Elizabeth says, my problem is I love makeup and I love trying new things and I'm a sucker for packaging. I need to learn to resist. I'm in the market for a new car, teen learning to drive. Yeah, sometimes it's really hard, when you see something and it's like, the packaging or the scent or the limited edition or whatever, it's really hard to just say no to it and just be like, you know what? No, I don't need this. And one thing that helps me when I get there is I add things to my cart and then I walk away, which of course you can't do if it's, limited edition or if you know it's going to sell out. But I try really hard to not do that. Sorry, I lost it. I read something that caught me off guard. But it's really hard to not impulse buy, especially when you really, really like something. But I find probably at least half of the time, I end up not buying the thing if I give myself just a little bit of time to think about it. Yeah, Happy G says, can we do a cooking with Jen episode? Go watch the video. The video I put up last week was kind of a cooking with Jen video. It was me trying to turn a cherry pie into a lip gloss. It turned into a lip oil, and it was really fun. It was not meant to be taken seriously. I have a lot of people giving me very serious advice on how to make it better, and it was really just a fun video. The people that watch it seem to really, really enjoy it. So I think I'm going to do it again, even though the overall viewership was lower than typical. I really had so much fun with that video. It brought me so much joy to mix my love of mixing things and trying to make something new and unique with cooking, with makeup. It's all the things that I love wrapped up into one video. So if you haven't seen that, I would definitely recommend checking it out. It was fun. It's kind of vloggy. I go to the grocery store. It's a little vloggy. You kind of get it, I don't know if you're interested in what I do during my week. It's kind of fun. But yeah. Oh, you would love a cooking channel from me. Oh, thank you. You know what's funny? If you go back, I have a YouTube channel that I had before this one. It's called JenLuv 37. And I did something called JenLuv's Kitchen back then. And I did something called Drunk Monkeys on a Sandwich, which was probably my favorite video that I did. They're very goofy. They're very, very goofy. This is Jen 10 years ago, Jen, being very, very silly. I had little ones at home. I was teaching elementary school and I was very silly. So Flaming Drunk Monkeys on a Sandwich. I did How to Cook a Baked Potato in the Microwave. I did one with chicken. I did White Chocolate Peppermint Bark for Christmas. They're very goofy. If you search for JenLuv 37, JenLuv or just JenLuv's Kitchen, you might be able to find them. They're still there. That channel was never monetized because it was before monetization was a thing. So if you want to see Jen cooking from back then, they're very goofy.
Is that the channel that the Prego Diaries are on? Yes,
that's the channel the Prego Diaries were on. That's when I was pregnant with Lila. That's a good series too. It's the Prego Diaries. Where I was pregnant with Lila. I did Things Never to Say to a Pregnant Woman. That was my most popular video on that channel. I think it got, I don't know how many views it got, but for me, it was a lot. As somebody with, 2,000 subscribers or whatever, 3,000 subscribers was kind of my peak, I think. But that was considered a mid-sized channel back then, 3,000 subscribers. Because 10, 15,000 subscribers was a huge channel. Once you got to 30,000 subscribers, you were famous. You were YouTube famous. You were the top of the leaderboards because we used to have leaderboards back then. But yeah, I would love to do more cooking content. It's fun. It's fun. Maybe one day I'll have a cooking channel. That would be fun. I would love it. All right, we are 3 minutes left already. Oh my gosh. I can't believe it. Yeah, James says beauty gurus should upload videos with makeup they've already had in their collection already, not just always new makeup from PR. Yeah, and I totally see that point. Okay, this is the thing is when you upload videos based on things that are already in your collection, those videos don't tend to do as well. And when you're doing this as a full-time job, it can mean the difference between $50 and $500. Or more, $5,000 for larger channels. It's a significant difference between, when it's less views, it's a significant difference money-wise. So if your goal is to do it as a full-time job, you just can't make videos like that. unfortunately, because they just don't get the views. It's the reason why people stop doing tutorials, is because they just weren't getting the views. And people say, well, all you care about is views. Well, yeah, if you're trying to do this as a full-time job and you want to have income so that you can do it as a full-time job, you have to create content that people want to watch. You can't just have fun with it anymore. And it's sad that it has to be like that, but that's why you see videos on hot topics. If you look at like my content that was based around Jaclyn Hill and the number of views I got on that, you know, because that was the topic of the week versus things that are not on about Jaclyn Hill. I mean, thankfully I have my husband's income as well, but this is my full-time job. I need to make money. I can't just do videos, you know, that are not on hot topics and new product releases and things like that. You know, it's sad. It can't just be about the joy. And people say, well, it's just about money. But I heard the same thing when I was teaching, is that, you know, it's only about money. It's like you expect people to do things just out of the joy of their heart, but you also have to earn a living. You know, and it's like, if your boss said, hey, I'll pay you $50 to do this task, and I'll pay you $500 to do this task, but they're going to take the exact same amount of work to do them. You may have more fun with the $50 task, but which one are you going to choose? Probably the $500 one. Like we all can be money driven for good reason, because we need to live. We need to put food on the table. We need to pay our rent. We need to pay for gas. We need to pay car payments or whatever. And unfortunately, you know, makeup that's already in the collection doesn't pay the bills. Tutorials don't pay the bills. And really the only way to get those things to change is to watch content that's like that. If the audience changes, the audience has the power over what's popular on YouTube. If the audience stops watching videos about Jaclyn Hill, then people won't make them. If the audience starts watching videos about things in their collection already, then that's the way it's going to go. It's all about what people watch. I mean, it's the same thing with network television. You know, if a show isn't doing well, it gets canceled because it's not going to bring in the advertisers. Yeah, and I think Katie makes a really good point. Katie says Emily Noel always puts up videos using old products she loves, and I appreciate stuff like that. She proves that you can get a beautiful look with products you already own. Absolutely. And I think one thing that Emily has done that's very difficult to do is she has cultivated an audience that loves that. They're used to that. The people that watch Emily are used to that content. If I uploaded something like that, it wouldn't be the same, because I haven't cultivated that audience. And it's, you know, part of the reason why I feel like, you know, the video that I put up this past week that didn't get as many views, which is totally fine. I had a blast doing it, and I'm probably going to do it again, is that I haven't cultivated an audience that cares about DIYs on my channel, cares about vlogs on my channel. So of course it's not going to attract as big of an audience. You know what I mean? So it's all about, I think, what Emily has done. And it's the same thing like with Jessica Braun, how she does a lot of vlogs. She's cultivated that audience to know that they can count on vlogs on her channel. And that's why vlogs do well on her channel, on Raw Beauty Christie's channel, because her audience knows that that's something that's going to be enjoyable to watch. And it takes a long time to build that. I mean, how long has Emily been doing this? You know, forever. But not every channel can do that, because they haven't built the audience to enjoy that content on their channel, if that makes sense. So, I mean, you know, yeah. Oh my goodness, we're 2 minutes over. I gotta go. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. I hope you enjoyed chat today. It was a fun chat. Yeah, thank you for being here. If you're watching this on the replay, don't forget to leave your thoughts down below. If I didn't see your comment over in the live stream and you want me to see it, come back after the video renders to the full version and come and leave the comment. I would love to read it. Yeah, I just scroll and I just pick things that I feel like will move the conversation along. That's it. That's all I do. But yeah, I would love to read what you have to say if I didn't see it. And mad love to you. Have a wonderful week. Stay safe. And I will see you in a video very, very soon. Bye.